Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and I had to make a video because some big-time NFL breaking news just went down. The Buffalo Bills and the Chicago Bears have agreed to terms of a deal which is going to send wide receiver DJ Moore out to Buffalo. The moment I saw this deal go down, I put out a video on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365, put out a little bit of a short as well, and I said, I wonder if this trade could impact the Las Vegas Raiders because the moment the Bears traded DJ Moore, they saved $16.5 million. And I know that Chicago was one of the biggest teams out there interested in Maxx Crosby. And then a bombshell report ended up going down. Coming in here from Jordan Schultz, teams in the trade market have gotten the sense that the Raiders are more open to the idea of trading Maxx Crosby, and it is a situation that is only going to intensify. You guys know I like to say where there's smoke, there's fire. I also am a big believer that in the NFL, when dominoes start to fall, you better get ready to see a lot of those dominoes fall. I'm getting ready to go live here on the Raiders Report, but I wanted to be able to make this video for you guys real quick because when major news happens, I'm going to keep you guys up to date. I don't care what team in the NFL. If I think that that move could impact the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm always going to give you my opinion. I know Maxx Crosby has been the epitome of what a Raider truly is inside and out, but there is no player that is above the shield. And I'm going to talk about things that I believe Raider fans need to hear. So hopefully, when you see this report, when you see these rumors, I think you need to get ready because I think a Maxx Crosby trade is going to go down, which is why I'm about to go live. Also, Jordan Schultz put this out here. This is right after the Chicago Bears news ended up going out that they're sending DJ Moore. What's also really interesting is, the Chicago team, Drew Dahlman just retired. So they're getting an extra like $26 million to be able to work with. And I want to be very clear. If a team like the Bears, I think if any team out there ends up making a deal for Maxx Crosby, I think Max is going to ask for a brand new contract because of those 3 final years on that deal. Also, we just got the compensation for DJ Moore, and according to Tom Pelissero, the Bills are sending a 2026 second-round pick to the Bears for DJ Moore, and they're going to get a 5th-round pick in return. So the Bills send a second. Chicago ends up sending DJ Moore and a 5th-round pick. Very, very interesting trade right there, I think, for both organizations, because I think for the Bills, it makes a lot of sense. You get Josh Allen, a true number 1 receiver, which he clearly did not have last season, and obviously we heard the Keon Coleman situation. I talked to one of my buddies who's a part of that Bills coaching staff, and they were like, yeah, the Keon Coleman situation was unfortunate. And then on the same breath for Chicago, you're able to reload, you're able to get some extra money, and maybe you're going to go out and spend on a Tyler Linderbaum. Or maybe you're gearing up to make a blockbuster deal with the Las Vegas Raiders to go out and get Maxx Crosby, because I know this, the Bears are one of the front runners out there, and the Bears are a team that's been sniffing around for a long time, and I know Maxx Crosby, he wants to play for a contender. He wants to play for a winning team. These were the top 4 teams that I discussed yesterday on the Raiders Report, and if you didn't see the video that I put out yesterday, I said there was an 80% chance that Maxx Crosby was ultimately going to end up getting dealt. And I know this, out of these teams that you see up on screen, one of those teams is the top destination that Maxx Crosby wants to play with. Some of these teams that you see on screen have also offered multiple trades to the Silver and Black. But my understanding is Max wants to play for one team and one team in particular, and we might get a little bit of news on that team today. More news coming out here from Albert Breer. Meanwhile, the Bears have cleared a bunch of cap room this week with Drew Dahlman retiring and DJ Moore traded. We'd mentioned earlier that they've shown some interest in Tyler Linderbaum and Maxx Crosby, so stay tuned. I'm staying tuned, man. I have not been able to sleep all that well. It's been a crazy, crazy week already. And don't get me wrong, Raider Nation. I know how probably frustrated a lot of y'all are and kind of sick and tired of hearing the Maxx Crosby trade rumors because it's every single offseason. But at the same time, this year is different. The rumors are different. the voices inside of Max's room are very different. And Crosby has done I would say, a good job distancing himself from Raider Nation, and he's done a good job, him and his group, of distancing themselves from a lot of people that they used to be really close to. And I kind of am going to leave it like that. So be honest with me. Do you think Maxx Crosby will be traded? Give me a yes. Give me a no. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your God-honest answer. My answer is coming up here in just a moment. Yes, I believe Maxx Crosby will be traded. I said it yesterday, and I had a source reach out to me on Monday. We'll talk about that source on Monday. We'll talk about my source on Tuesday as well, because, you know, when people, again, man, I've done this for a long time. I got a great relationship with the Crosby family. I said on Monday I thought there was a 25% chance that Max was going to be dealt. Had a source reach out to me on Monday, and because I was sick Monday and Tuesday, I just haven't been on my phone as much as I have. I feel much better today. And because of that, you know, I was sitting back wondering, oh, crap, like, I didn't think he was going to get dealt after the Fowler report. And then when you get certain information and people tell you that, hey, man, you're not allowed to put out certain information if I tell you this, the light bulbs start going off in my mind. So I'm going to talk about everything I did yesterday. We're also going to break down what exactly this means for the Raiders in terms of how much money we're going to be able to get if, and I think ultimately when, the Condor is traded. But before I get into that, huge shout out to today's sponsor, GLD. Hey, man, I'm rocking my GLD chain. When you got a day like this, moving on from Max, I think it's good and bad. It's good because you're going to get $30 million extra dollars. You're also going to be able to help do that rebuild, but you're also losing a player that, man, like, means so much to the nation. I am a big believer when you look good, you're going to feel good, and I think today is an important day for Raider Nation to look their absolute best, because I think we need to feel our absolute best. If you want to get the chain that I'm wearing, I can actually show you a little bit of a closer-up picture of it. Spoiler alert, this is actually not me, the model. I know, shocking. But, you know, we all got our shoes that we like to wear. We got our nice outfits that we like to wear. There's a lot of different things that I love about GLD, but this is a chain that I can wear here at work. It's a chain that I can wear out on date night, and it's high quality, over 2 million customers, over 50,000 five-star reviews, worn by stars like Justin Bieber, Malik Neighbors, Mitchell Renz. And if you want to look and feel your best, just level up any outfit. I think that this is the missing piece. And I'm telling you this, like, if I'm wearing like a nice like black shirt, I have so much Raiders stuff that I have just all these black shirts. I feel like when I slap on a GLD chain, I do, man. I feel a lot better about myself because I do. I feel like I elevate my wardrobe a lot. Like, is there any guys out there, like the amount of times I've heard y'all tell me I've outkicked my coverage with my wife, this makes me feel like the coverage is a little bit closer. I don't know. Like, it really, truly does. So work hard and change the game. For a limited time only, new customers are getting an insane deal. Use code CHAT, C-H-A-T, to get 50% off at GLD.com. That's 50% off with code CHAT at GLD.com. After you make your purchase, they're going to ask you, where did you hear about them? Make sure you tell them, Mitchell Renz, Raiders Report, ended up sending me. So let's get into what I talked about yesterday, because I was told something on Monday night that I was asked not to share. And where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's the rumblings, we can say all the idioms, I think that's the right word, that we want. The dominoes are falling. I think you're starting to see some of the dominoes that I wasn't allowed to tell y'all about yesterday. And that's just kind of how I'm going to have to leave it. But what I do know is this: Max does have a favorite trade destination, but also I'm under the impression that that team hasn't been willing to offer the biggest deal out there. I do wonder, because of the Jordan Schultz report that just came out, if the Raiders are now maybe a little bit more willing to take a trade that's not going to be a Micah Parsons level deal. Because here's the one thing: Raider fans are going to hate what I'm about to say, but it is the God-honest truth. Mark Davis and Maxx Crosby have an outstanding relationship. I've said on this show for the past few years that I am under the impression that Maxx Crosby will have the ability to be a part-time owner of the Raiders once his career is over. Max wants to keep his relationship with Raider Nation strong. He also wants to keep the relationship with the Raiders organization extremely strong. Mark doesn't want to burn that bridge. Crosby doesn't want to burn that bridge. So I am under the impression that there is one team that the Raiders are trying to trade Max to, because that's the team that Max wants to play for. But I want to be clear: That team has not offered the top compensation. I know that there are 2 teams out there in the NFL that have offered the Raiders 2 first-round picks, and it's kind of a tough situation to be able to deal with because no player is above the shield. And at the end of the day, I want the Raiders to get the best draft compensation, to get the best trade package possible to put us in the situation to succeed the most. I'm not saying that the Raiders aren't going to get a good deal. Again, if you're going to trade away this guy right here, the face of your franchise, the definition of what commitment to excellence truly means on and off the field, you better get a damn good package. And I don't know if you're going to get 2 firsts from the team that he wants to play for. I don't know if you're going to get another starting caliber player for the team that he wants to play for. But I know this, that Maxx and Mark want to remain very close. They don't want to burn any bridges, and I think it's why you're going to see Maxx get his wish, and it's why you're going to see Maxx ultimately get dealt to the team that he wants to play for. Because when you start seeing reports that have been out there the way that we've been seeing them, and I get it, Maxx hasn't really said whether or not he wants to be a Raider. He's kind of been like, I'm just focusing on ball. I'm just focusing on, what I need to be able to do. But then, there's just so many rumors out there right now about, hey, Maxx was saying goodbye to people at the Commitment to Excellence dinner. I've reached out to Maxx Crosby and his team multiple times, and, I was essentially told to not reach out to them anymore. I've had an outstanding relationship with Maxx, and Maxx was the very first player that ever followed me. I know for a fact that Crosby family has my back, and I think deep down that they know I'm always going to support Maxx, the Maxx Foundation, and everything that he stands for on and off the field. But I have seen in the last few days Crosby distancing himself, right? Like, again, man, like that's a guy that I've messaged quite a few times over the past few years. It's somebody that I've had direct dialogue with. So when I get told, hey, maybe just don't contact Maxx this week, the alarm bells start going off a little bit. Was that the thing that I wasn't supposed to tell y'all? No. But has that been something that has been kind of hurting me a little bit? Yeah, because at the end of the day, man, like, I don't want y'all to think that I don't have connections with some of these players, connections with these agents, connections with, a guy like Maxx. I will always wish Maxx nothing but the best. But at the end of the day, we better get a trade that makes sense for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, if you're wondering, Mitch, all right, if we end up dealing 98, how much money do we get? This is where I really think that this conversation needs to go, because if you're going to try to do this rebuild, you move on from Maxx, you're going to be able to get $30 million. Imagine right now, snap your fingers, and you get $30.8 million. You're only going to eat 5.1. That's 5.1 that Mark Davis has to eat. That's me eating a $100 bill right now. If I had a $100 bill, I'd eat it right now because that's how easy it would be for him. Now, he's got $0 million guaranteed, and I do think that he's going to actually get a brand-new contract that ends up going down. I said last offseason that when Maxx kind of structured his contract the way that he did, he front-loaded that piece. $38 million in the first year, $32 million in the second year. You don't typically see that, and I think what that really told me was if the Raiders were not a winning football team in 2026 and 2027, Maxx was already having one foot out the door. Not that he wants to be dealt. I am under the impression that Maxx is okay playing for the Raiders this season, but we are second fiddle to another team that he wants to play for. And I think Raider Nation needs to really, truly realize that. Like, how does that make you feel, right? Like, imagine you're in a relationship. Your significant other says, I like you, but if that person wants me, I would rather go there. That's the situation we are dealing with right now with Maxx Crosby and ultimately the Las Vegas Raiders. But lots and lots of things could end up going down. But I want Raider Nation to think about this. If you're upset about the Maxx Crosby trade, okay, I want you to think about this. Well, how about this? I'm going to ask you this question, and then I'm going to give you my one-word reaction, and then I'm going to explain to you how exactly I'm going to do that. So if Maxx ends up getting dealt, what would be your one-word reaction to a Maxx Crosby trade? You're going to get hit with another YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, scroll on down. Please give me your answer. My answer is coming up here in just a moment. The one word should be rebuild. And this is a Raiders team that needs to rebuild. You hired a brand new head coach in Clint Kubiak. You can't keep on hiring and firing guys left and right. So let's do this rebuild the right flipping way. And I know losing Maxx sucks. Losing Maxx is a kick in the nuts for Raider Nation. It's just a kick in the nuts. I think it's the best way to put it. We all love and we rock with Maxx. But what if I told you Maxx Crosby for let's say we can get 3 extra starters in free agency because maybe we can get, an Eric Stokes and a Dafe Owe, and then you're able to go out and get maybe a Devin Bush at linebacker because of that $30 million that you're able to save for Maxx. On top of that, you're going to get that draft compensation. I know Maxx is an unbelievable player, one of the greatest Raiders of all time, one of the greatest NFL players in the current day as we stand right now. I think he's also super underappreciated because of how bad of a football team the Raiders have been. But if you want a guy that can stop the run, no doubt about it. We also got to realize, though, he's had tons of knee issues. He's had a lot of injuries. So, like, to me, I sit back and I go, all right, Maxx Crosby, one player. But if we were able to flip Maxx for 5-ish starters, and that might sound crazy, but between the draft capital and the money that we're going to save in free agency, I think that could be close to 5 starters. When you have the amount of holes that the Raiders do on both the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the football, you have to consider the fact that, you know what, maybe if we move on from this guy, we're going to be able to retool our team in a better way before we hit free agency, before we hit the draft. Because I promise you this, if I was calling the shots for the Raiders and somebody were to ask me, when would you want to trade Maxx? I would want to trade Maxx before free agency because I would want to know that we have that extra $30 million. I would want to know that the extra draft capital is there. When you're moving on from a player of this type of magnitude, the best thing that you can do is make yourself just ultimately prepared. Because trading away Maxx closer to the draft, maybe then you didn't sign the proper edges. You didn't sign the proper linebackers. You didn't sign the proper defensive linemen to help get this new 3-4 front with Rob Leonard going. Bottom line is this, though. I'm getting ready to hop off out of here. I'm getting ready to go live on the Raiders Report. I want to talk Maxx Crosby. I want to talk NFL breaking news. And if you want to join the nation, I guarantee you we're going to have thousands upon thousands of people today live. And I think I'm going to be live for a very long time today. I'll see you guys here in a little bit. Buckle up, Buttercup. I'm going to be live very soon on the Raiders Report.